Hey guys, and welcome to Garage Rock. I'm Cam, and this is Steven.
How's it going, guys? Wow, you are ultra excited.
Very enthusiastic for this one. This is the Unify 2019 special, Steve.
Yeah, that's right. We went away to the Unify Gathering 2019, Tarwin Lower in Victoria, and you had an awesome time, Cam.
Stephen,
Yes.
what a crazy festival it is. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been there as a patron. At the original site, so it was a lot different this year for me. But how did you find your first Unify Gathering?
Yeah, I loved it. It was really good. The site was set out really well.
Oh yeah, great French way.
Yes. But we were there obviously to conduct interviews, and if you'd like to check out the interviews, all 12 that we did up on the Garage Rock podcast. I believe we had the most interviews of any media outlet there.
Yeah, it's
actually,
quite a
Cam.
feat. We were busy little bees, weren't we? Basically doing interview and then going to the main stage to get photos and watch the bands.
Exactly.
And then back to do interviews and sort of chopping and changing. But we worked it out quite nicely and had a great time, really.
Yeah, and before we get too into it, want to thank Unify Gathering and Unified for having us.
Yes.
Absolutely. And also want to thank Scrabble PR.
Scrabble PR made everything run absolutely bloody smoothly for us media folk backstage there.
Yep.
I can't thank them enough. It went really well, didn't it, Sven?
Yep. They organised all the interviews for us, and it was a really well run festival. Like a lot of festivals that we cover are
12 interviews, Steve. Is that the most we've done in? I know it's a 2-day festival, but is that the most we've done at a festival before?
It's up there. Like sometimes Falls Festival we do maybe 12 to maybe 15 over a few days, because there's more.
I've never done the
artists.
Falls, so I wasn't sure, but yeah, it was awesome fun. It was good to smash them all out and talk to some and met some really cool people, didn't we?
Exactly, yes.
You know?
We a shout out to Overdrive magazine, who we caught up with.
Yeah, absolute legends we caught up with backstage and their photographers and interviewers.
Yeah, and we also want to thank Matt, who was a photographer there as well. He did a great job.
He got the shot of the festival, didn't he, Steve?
Yeah, you're talking about Pagan?
I'm talking about Pagan. We'll get into that a bit later. But the shot he got of Nikki was bloody awesome.
Oh, definitely. We'll get into that. In fact, why don't we get into it now? Let's talk about it. This is a camping festival, so we rocked up.
Well, first of all, I picked up Steve, and then we set the toaster to 3, medium brown, and then we had a cup of tea.
Came out a bit darker than medium brown after this weekend. I got severely burnt, as pale redheads tend to.
Yeah, it was a little hot, wasn't it? A little sunny.
Yes. The first night that we got there, it was just a few local bands who were sort of playing. It was like the warm-up night. It was early access, so people could come down a night earlier.
It did set a great vibe for the festival that first night, which they don't normally do. And you know what? It was just good fun, wasn't it? Especially with the all-nighters playing.
Yes.
They were playing punk covers, pop punk covers mainly.
Yeah. The All-Nighters, are a cover band featuring members of Hellions. And they just played a whole bunch of, punk covers, which was cool.
And you know what? They do it really well, don't they?
Oh, yeah. The whole crowd got into it, and that's what you want. It was like going to the Swan Hotel, watching a cover band, but you're in, well, where are you? You're in the bush, really, Tarwin Lower, because it's about a 2.5-hour drive from Melbourne CBD.
Yeah, it literally is in the middle of nowhere. I'm talking paddocks, I'm talking dirt tracks. I mean, it's the Australian outback. Well, that's at least what I told Taking Back Sunday.
That's right. Yeah, you told them there was the app, because they and this is one of the cool things about being backstage and meeting with bands. Some bands come in, you do interviews, and they leave. Some like to have a chat, and Taking Back Sunday wanted to have a chat. Every Time I Die liked having a chat as well, which it's cool. Like
Every Time I Die, we're very interested in pizza shapes and barbecue shapes.
They were very interested in Aussie food, and because the interviewer before them gave them a box of Celebrations.
That's right.
And they were flicking through, and I'm like,
and you told Steve to eat
have a Turkish delight. I was like, these are usually the ones left at the end. What do you think? And he wasn't a fan.
No.
But then they had pizza shapes and they loved it. Whereas the guys from Taking Back Sunday, they were really interested in, because whenever they've come to Australia, they've played in the major cities. So to be out in the bush, or as you said, the outback, they saw Kangaroos bouncing around, and they were just amazed by it. It's like, oh my God.
It would be pretty crazy for them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because, I mean, I guess it's something that you see, but, I mean, for us, it's kind of second nature. I mean, we almost hit 3 of them on the drive home because they just bounce across the road willy-nilly. But yeah, they were really interested in that, and they were talking about, a dingo's got my baby, and it was cool. So
they were curious about Wolf Creek, where
yes.
What's that? He's like, what's that horror movie? Where he kills all the backpackers. I'm like, oh, that's Wolf Creek. That happened just down the road, and the look of sheer fright on his face.
Yeah,
I said, I was just joking. It didn't really happen here.
Especially since the guy who did it only got like 2 years. Yeah. I mean, he's back. He's just kicking it around town. But no, the thing is, being part of media, like this is the first media we've done for Garage Rock the podcast, but we've done backstage media at festivals for years for Red Sky Music and for the Garage Rock TV show. It is a lot of work. Like when you're there, you are working, and it's not there. There are some people who go there just to be seen with bands and to be like, oh my God, I'm backstage kind of thing. The thing is, it is a privilege to be backstage.
Oh, 100%.
But you are there to work. But there are also cool moments where you do just, a band might have wrapped up their interviews and you just have a chat with them. And
yeah, because we've done a lot of interviews where sometimes the artists aren't too keen on sticking around, and
which is fine.
Obviously, they got things to do. They got other interviews. They got to go play a show,
of course.
But most of them wanted to stick around, chat, and talk for a bit, which was awesome. It's not just about the interview, which is good for us because we're human beings and love to have a chat.
Exactly.
That's why we do this.
Exactly.
But everyone.
Yes.
Everyone, all the interviews we did, everyone was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that was working there was really cool.
There were no egos.
No,
which
it was great. It was a good general vibe of the whole place. And like I said, it's different to previous years at a different location just up the road. It is a lot bigger now, which is awesome. There's more tents, more stages. Obviously, they had a tent in the middle of the camping area, basically, where they had Thursday night, the all-nighters playing. Cage Existence, Between You and Me, and A Burden played on that stage, which we went to, and it was a great vibe. Everyone was in a positive mood. Obviously, it's the first night of the festival, and we rocked out. And then we got to go sleep in our lovely little tents that we got.
I could not wait to get home to my own bed. I'm not going to lie.
It was like that. That's why we didn't stay on the last night. We stayed for the bands, but we didn't sleep the night. We went home at all hours of the morning because we wanted our own Betty Buys.
Exactly.
Steve and I are getting a little bit old.
And a shower.
A shower would have been great. Yeah. Actually, they did have a shower backstage, but we chose not to use it.
Yeah.
Not because it was dirty, just because there was only one. But
yeah. Anyway, moving on. The reason we went there, Cam, the bands.
Yeah.
And for the festival. So, what would be your highlight from day one?
Day one, it's hard because it was such a good day and it was exciting. It was the first main day.
Yep.
But Crossfaith have got to stand out, Steve. The Japanese metal band, wow, what a show.
Yeah.
The thing I love the most is they obviously tried so hard with their English.
Yeah.
Obviously being their second language, but they did really well. And what about when everyone was yelling out "Shoey"?
Yeah, exactly. The crowd wanted to do shoeys.
Obviously, shoeys are very big in the festival scene at the moment, and if you don't know what that is, it's when you pour a beer into your shoe and scull it out of your shoe. And everyone was yelling that to Crossfaith, and he thought they were saying, "Do it, do it." So he's going, "Do it, do it." back to him. But man, the pyrotechnics, they're obviously so tight. And their metal is just like it's absolutely brutal, but it's done so well. And there was one point after a song where everyone in the crowd decided to sit down.
Yes,
and
that's
row.
right. Yeah, they just decided to sit on the ground.
So can you imagine? I don't know, 1,000 people, roughly, all sit down at once and rowing back and forward, going row. Right, I've never seen that before. It was awesome.
Me neither. I don't know if Crossfaith had either, but
don't think they knew what the hell was going on.
Exactly.
You just kept saying, "You crazy, man."
That's right. And I'd have to say, yeah, I'd agree. Crossfaith, their presence on stage was awesome.
Yeah.
And we mentioned it a month ago, Good Things Festival, Baby Metal.
Yep.
Of course, they're a Japanese band. And we mentioned like the facial expressions on the lead singer or the three lead singers for Baby Metal.
Yep.
Just how they looked angry but happy but intense. And I'd have to say the bass player from Crossfaith,
Yep.
he had the same sort of facial expressions where
totally.
he just looked like he was just totally in the zone and just looked frightening at times.
It's different for us because we're used to seeing Westerners on stage mainly, you know,
Yeah.
and they've got a different culture and it's just different and it's intriguing to watch. And
Yeah.
it's awesome to see.
Absolutely. So I'd have to say, yeah, Crossfaith and also, yeah, the flames shooting up and everything like that. They were awesome. And that was it. There was another media group backstage did an interview with Crossfaith.
Yeah.
And they'd never seen Aerogard before.
Yeah, that's right.
Just Mozzie repellent. So they were like just spraying it. They were just spraying it around because they thought it was amazing. This what is this thing? It's Aerogard. Fantastic.
Don't have flies in Japan. Dream on Dreamer.
Yes.
They kicked it out of the ballpark as well.
Oh, yes.
They absolutely smashed it. I really like, they've got a bit of clean singing happening nowadays.
Yep.
And also it made me excited. I'm going to go see them when they're going to tour with the Getaway Plan.
Yes.
So it just made me more pumped to go to that, you know?
Yeah. We were talking to them about that upcoming tour as well because they've been mates with the Getaway Plan for a number of years and they've got the same management as well. So they've sort of just put together the co-headline tour.
It was a really enjoyable interview because they were really willing to chat. Well, everyone was really, but they were just really inviting and actually they were camped behind the media tent, which was handy.
Quite a few of the artists were sort of like camped nearby, and it was cool. And we were doing interviews later, and just like footies going backwards and forwards, like behind us,
and they were walking back and forth saying hello. So
exactly.
Really friendly environment.
Yeah, it was, and also one of the you talked to Marcel about him having cancer and then surviving that. And some people would possibly shy away from talking about something like that, but he was quite open about it, which is great. It's great to hear it, and he had a positive outlook.
He's taken a positive outlook from it, hasn't he? And he's really he's embraced it to live life now.
Yeah, exactly.
If that makes sense.
Oh, definitely. And a little later in the day, we also caught Hellions, which they had their album Rue come out a few months ago, and they were saying like this is the first time since the album's come out that they've played a festival slot.
Yeah.
And the crowd, was singing back to them and really getting into it. And I think the time they were playing about 10 o'clock. So the crowd, I think, were in their prime.
That was a prime time to play, wasn't it?
So
everyone was really excited and they put on a great show. Obviously it was dark by then, so the lights were going off.
Yep.
The sound was fucking awesome.
Yeah, no, they put on an awesome show, and that was it. Crowd interaction, and Dre from Hellions, he was great to chat with.
Yeah.
And like we'd see him sort of like just walking around backstage. He was like, "Hey, how's it going, guys?" And
he's a cool frontman too.
Oh yeah.
Lots of energy. It's what you want to see.
Yeah, that's right. And the interaction with the crowd as well. Like that, they played their new single, relatively new single, Smile.
Yep.
And the crowd was singing it back to them, and you could tell that they were really sort of they were really feeding off the crowd. And I guess at a festival with a new album, trying new tracks, you don't know if it's going to work or not.
That's it. But
it did.
And you're limited for time at these festivals too. Like you don't always get your hour-long sets like you have your own headlining show.
Yeah.
So you got to choose wisely what you're going to play, and it works. It worked well what they chose.
And that's something you brought up with a few of the different acts as well. It's like you've got a 20 or sometimes 30-minute set for the smaller bands, and you're asking them how do they put together their set list for such a short set, and some of them are like, well, this is it, we're going out and we're going just banger after banger and just having like all of our singles and just come out with force, whereas some are saying we want to play some new stuff, we want to track in a few old things as well. So it was really sort of interesting talking to the bands about how they prepared for these short sets.
Yeah, totally. And like if it's a 20-minute set,
Yeah.
That might be only like 5 songs in Metal Talk.
Yeah.
so
or one in John Butler Trio Talk.
Oh, that's true. But Steve.
Yes.
And I've got to say another one.
Yeah.
Another highlight for day one for us. It was Carnival. Blew everybody away. Ian Kenny's voice, what more can we say about that? He did join the stage with Ocean Grove, which I was surprised on. I'm like, who's this on stage with Ocean Grove? Oh, it's Ian Kenny.
Exactly.
And that's before Carnival had played, and he was up there and rocked out a song with him. It was great.
That's right, because a couple of members of Ocean Grove are leaving. So it was sort of, and we interviewed them and they were saying that this is going to be like a special show. It's kind of like a farewell show for a couple of members anyway.
Yeah.
So they were going to do a few special things, and they opened the show, and Ian Kenny jumped up on there. Now, I'm not one to criticise the festival because it was a really good festival.
It was great.
This is probably the one thing that I don't think worked.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, Carnival and Under Oath, who were the headliners of the festival
that
night, they came out at midnight and at 1 a.m.
It's too late, isn't it,
That is
Steve?
like so. We actually, when we were chatting with Under Oath, we said, "Have you ever done a slot that late before? Started at 1 a.m." And they were like, "No. The latest we've ever started is 11 o'clock." So it was for them. It was weird, and because we'd gone and done a couple of interviews, and the crowd was pretty decent. Then when we've come out to watch Carnival, the crowd had thinned out a bit because it was midnight.
Everyone would have been buggered by it. It was still big, but it just wasn't as crazy. And I just think everyone was a bit tired and obviously partied all day. And
the core group in front of the stage was still there, but like the people standing around the outers sort of watching.
I find it weird that not Crossfaith, Under Oath haven't played at midnight, like done like a midnight mass kind of thing or something. Too soon?
No, it's fine. But that was the thing. Like they finished about 2:15 in the morning. And
it was late, wasn't it?
It was late, and the thing is, they opened up a couple of circle pits throughout their set. They got people going, but I was struggling. I know you were struggling as well.
Yeah, it was a hot day as well. It was hot in the media tent that day, wasn't it? It was basically like a sauna.
Yeah.
So everyone would come in and go, whoo.
Yeah, exactly.
But everyone was cool with their interviews and that. So
but that was the thing. It kind of look, maybe if they'd started the bands playing on that day 2 hours earlier, so Carnival played at 10 and Under Oath played at 11.
Perfect.
It would have been fine. So that's,
and then those that want to stay up and still party, you can have the music going till 2 in the morning or whatever.
Exactly, DJs or something, which they did the previous night.
Which they did, yeah.
So, not to pick on the festival, I think that was one thing that maybe next time they might do it a little differently.
Yeah, it's just too late.
Yeah, it seemed to
Everyone's
be.
Everyone's getting old.
And the following night as well, Every Time I Die started at midnight and Taking Back Sunday started at 1, and again, it had thinned out a bit. So,
yeah. Anyway, the Saturday, Steve.
Yes.
It was a little bit cooler, which was good. It was still hot. But it was a bit cooler in the media tent for us little queens in there.
Yes.
They did open the arena earlier that day, which opened at 8 o'clock and the band started at 10.
Yes, they had more bands performing on this day as well.
Yeah, it was a busy day.
Yeah, for me, there were quite a few bands I thought put on awesome performances on this day. I know you're going to want to talk about them, but Pagan.
Oh.
Tell us a bit about Pagan, Kim.
Oh, I just absolutely... Well, first of all, I saw them at 2017 Unify and then saw them the same year support Frenzal Rom and was instantly intrigued by them. Like they're basically a thrash metal band, black metal, mixed in with a whole bunch of other genres.
Yep.
And their live show now especially has been perfected. It's spot on.
Yep.
Like, Nikki, the singer, which I ask about her in her interview, where does she get her inspiration from and blah, 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 which you can listen to that in her interview. She just has all the moves spot on.
Yep.
I love the theatrics she takes. She's wearing all white. She's drinking red wine and spilling it down her so it looks like blood.
Yeah.
So it's sort of that kind of... And she looks possessed up there sometimes.
Yes, yeah.
And really good theatrics, Steve.
The way she sort of contorts her body around and things as well,
She does it really well, and the whole band, like everyone just puts in.
Yeah.
Nobody tires.
Yeah.
and everyone's just giving it their all. I know there was only short sets, but
Yep.
it was definitely one of the highlights for me for the day, Stephen.
And also, I'd have to say, one of the quotes that I will take away from the festival was Nikki from Pagan in your interview.
Yes.
You were talking to her about recording and singing the vocals.
She did 10 songs in one studio session.
Exactly. So let's listen to what she had to say now.
How the hell do you get that energy?
I nearly died after it. No, that's
Did
an
it nearly break
exaggeration.
you? I feel like
I couldn't literally though. The next day I could not shit because my stomach muscles were so sore.
Good heavens.
Yeah, I love the honesty and I appreciate the honesty.
Really though, because if you want to be able to scream, you got to do it from your lower pelvis and your abdomen.
Yeah, not the throat.
It's a bit of a lesson here.
Yeah, there you go.
And because I was doing it right, I was able to do that many songs.
Oh man,
Wow.
I love that's so good. I like I said, I love the honesty.
Yes.
That's the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot goes into singing like that.
Oh, exactly. And for those that don't know Pagan, it is full screaming.
Yeah.
Like it is full growl screaming, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And she's really perfected it, Steve.
Yeah, exactly.
I reckon.
Yeah, so that was Pagan. And then after Pagan caught Thornhill, who were really good as well. The lead singer for Thornhill, he had a lot of energy and was out singing out with the crowd as well, which quite a few bands did. They'd sort of get up on the barrier and, get the crowd singing back with them, which is awesome.
Definitely lots of crowd interaction we've seen throughout the festival, Steve.
Which you need, Cam.
You do need it, especially at a festival, because everyone's fucked.
And after Thornhill, we interviewed them at Stand Atlantic.
Yeah, I interviewed Bonnie from Stand Atlantic, and she was really nice, real nice, genuine person.
Yep.
They all are.
Yes. But she...
I went and caught their set before I interviewed them.
Yep.
And they're really cool, Steve. They're really cool, sort of pop punkish kind of stuff. Really right up my alley.
Yep.
I can see why they're getting all these tour supports with like Neck Deep and You Found Glory and all that. They're actually doing really well overseas. They're, if not better than Australia. There seems to be more of a following over there at the moment because they're constantly touring over UK, America,
Europe,
Europe and all that shizzle.
Yeah.
And they're absolutely smashing it. But looking at their live show, you can see why.
Yep.
And like I said, just a real nice, genuine person. I reckon they're going to go far. You're going to be hearing more of Stand Atlantic through the future.
Yeah, well, we've featured a couple of tracks off their new album, Skinny Dipping, on our show. And also, as she mentioned, like they're getting these support slots, and they were nominated for a Best International Breakthrough Artist for a heavy magazine in the UK as well. So, yeah, they're getting a lot of, and she even mentioned in the interview that they're getting a lot of interest more from overseas than sort of locally. But there were people in the crowd wearing Stand Atlantic shirts and things. So, they're getting there.
Quite popular. There was a lot of people watching them as well, which you can sort of see everyone singing along and really getting into it.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome to see. Now, Steve.
Clowns.
Yes.
We caught them at Download Festival at the start of 2018. But they've recorded a new album. They played a new track off that as well, and that seemed to get a pretty good reception as well, which is always a bit sort of, at a festival crowd playing new songs that people haven't heard yet.
That's it.
Can
and
be a
like
bit
I
hit
said,
and
you
miss.
are pressed for time, but it absolutely went off, didn't it? Everyone responded quite well.
And that's like we said about structuring your set list. Like some bands, like let's just go play the songs people know. They took this as an opportunity to play some new music, and I think it worked because they got a pretty good reception from it as well.
Just want to quickly mention Trophy Eyes, Steve.
Yep.
I really enjoyed their set because I've been listening to them a bit lately.
Yep.
It was a great sing-along for me.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend that you go check out Trophy Eyes because they put on an awesome show.
Oh, yeah. So it's the second day of the festival. They're playing a 10:30 slot. Everyone's it was prime time.
Oh, it was. Everyone was out there, guns blazing, just having a really good time.
Absolutely.
And then we wrestled on to the next band.
Yes. Every Time I Die, who we mentioned earlier, had a chat with Steve and Andy backstage, and they were really cool to have a chat with, and they were like genuine people, and they were very interested in Australia, as we sort of mentioned earlier.
A bit of Buffalo metal.
Yeah, a bit of Buffalo metal, and this was one of the bands quite a few people backstage and in the media section were looking forward to.
There was a lot of hype around these guys. Everyone everyone kept saying you got to check them out live, and we'd never seen them before. And they've been around for a long time, Steve, over 20 years or something.
Yeah.
So you can definitely see that experience up on stage, can't you? They know how to rock out.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And this is one of the things, like Every Time I Die, Under Oath being another band as well, they've flown all the way to
the outback.
Yeah, well, they've flown all the way to Australia, to Melbourne, to then travel 2.5 hours to Tarwin Lower, the middle of nowhere, to play one set. That's a big commitment.
It was like 36 hours of travelling or something for them or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's like Every Time I Die, they're playing 5 shows this year. That's sort of all they've announced. They've got a Christmas show at the end of the year and not a lot in between. So this was their first show of the year, and they haven't released new music since their 2016 album Low Teens. So, but they said that it still felt very fresh, and that they built the set list pretty well to feature a wide range of stuff. And the crowd loved it, and their fans loved it.
Totally. I think a lot of people were there for Every Time I Die. You could see that, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, definitely one of the heavier bands on the bill. And In Heart's Wake, the day earlier, there were plenty of metalheads who are really looking forward to Every Time I Die.
And speaking of a band not so heavy,
yes,
Taking Back Sunday.
Yes.
Now they're my era. They're my cup of tea.
Yep.
They're really my style. I love that. And obviously, I got to interview them again. I have interviewed Eddie before a few years ago.
Yeah.
But Taking Back Sunday, they've been around for 20 years.
Yep.
They've got their 20 compilation album out now.
Yep. Definitely check that out.
All the hits are on that, and they played all the hits, and they play it so well. Steve, it was really good to see these songs play live, because if I put my phone on shuffle or something, these songs always come on. I'm always rocking out to them, even though some of them are like 20 years old now.
Yeah.
But obviously there was a lot of fans there as well, Steve. A lot of fans there singing along again.
A lot of tattoos. A lot of Taking Back Sunday tattoos.
A lot of Taking Back Sunday tattoos around.
Backstage, And even in the backstage area, there were a few people who were sort of like fanboying and fangirling out on the band sort of backstage. Well, can we get a photo with you?
There was a lot of photos taken. And it was really cool as well, which I was surprised about when we did the interview with them, is we got all 4 members.
Yes.
It's very rare that you get a whole band to do it. It's normally 1, maybe 2.
Yep.
And they were all keen to sit down, have a chat, and were really cool about it.
And even have a chat later. And actually, they invited you to their show in Hawaii.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
You said they're heading to Hawaii later this month, and you were like, oh, yeah, I'll fly over. And they were like, cool, put you on the guest list. So, so now you have to go.
Now I've got to go. I was thinking it was more in the middle of the year, but it's like in a couple of weeks. So, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to go over again.
Yeah.
But once they finished, Steve, we had 2 little tired media heads that wanted to get home to bed.
Oh, yes.
Couldn't do another night sleeping on the ground. Next time might be an Airbnb, but we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
So we decided to pack up, and we got home about 4:30 a.m.
something
by
like
the
that.
time we got home.
Fun times.
It was great, but what an experience.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. And got an email from Unify earlier, and they're looking forward to putting it on again in 2020. So, I guess we can start prepping for the next year's.
Yeah, they've asked us back, so we might actually do it again, Steve.
Yeah.
Which will be exciting. Yeah. I want to know who's playing now.
Well, I don't even think they'll be in talks yet, Cam.
Oh, well, we shall see.
Yeah, even a few of these bands, because, of course, we'd mentioned I Killed the Prom Queen had been a late withdrawal after the announcement. So a few of these bands, even like Hellions, they were sort of like they'd played recently and they were chucked back onto the lineup again.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see what kind of lineup we'll get next year, because also this year it's the Unify Gathering, whereas the previous 4 years it had been the Unify Heavy Gathering.
Yeah.
So maybe next time it might be even softer again, like for lack of a better term.
I think they're going to open up their avenues, but they've kept pretty true to heavy music, haven't they?
So there's still plenty of heavy bands on the list.
But it just goes to show that Punk's not dead. She's just gone to bed.
So that is a wrap of Unify Gathering 2019. Once again, thank you to Unified for having us there and for everyone in the media tent and everyone who helped us out. Even all the people on site who were fantastic to work with.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. And I look forward to talking on our normal show, our normal podcast, Garage Rock, about Unify for a whole another year straight leading up to it.
Well, season 2 of Garage Rock, the podcast, will be back shortly. So, stay tuned for that. Keep an eye on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, and everything to see when we come back.
Like, share, and subscribe, guys.
Exactly. And until then, I've been Steve.
I've been Unify.
Unify. You at Unify.
I've been at Unify, but I'm Cam. Yeah.
You are Cam, yes.
Sorry.
See you next time.
Bye.